Thanks for checking in to the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 35. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Wilt. Each and every week, we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states,
it's just basketball.
We're here. We made it in the first pick in the 2024 State of Basketball Draft. Jaren Wilt picked
Marcus Burton, dog.
You picked him first?
Yeah, 1-1, Marcus Burton in our State of Basketball Draft. That was a couple weeks ago, so go check that out. But tonight, we're going to talk about the 2024 NBA Draft.
Yes. I want to start with a complaint, and it's my complaint then when I watch the draft every year, but this time I have this complaint 2 times this year. Too long. It's too long.
I mean, I think I don't know if I actually said it. I'm notoriously, I don't watch the draft ever. I'll like follow it, like check back on the ESPN app periodically. But like I don't watch it just because I don't really watch any pro drafts.
Yeah.
I guess no, I did watch.
Well,
I watched the NFL draft,
but that's
for a bit,
and that's
like,
multiple long days.
Yeah,
of drafting. Baseball is just an insanely long
miss
draft.
Me on the baseball draft. I'll pay attention to like the first 5 picks, but other than that, I don't.
The only reason
drafts are just too long.
Yeah, the only reason I ever tune in, like I tune into the draft, I'll have it on, like on my phone or on a screen or something. I'll have it on every year because there are like just certain people that I'm interested in seeing where they go, and like if I'm if I don't happen to look over like I think they might be getting drafted by the Pacers, maybe I'll watch or watch when it's getting close to that pick.
Yeah,
but it is just so long. And like what was it 3 hours last night at least?
Well, what started at like 6 or did it start at 8?
It started at 8,
and
the first pick wasn't until like 8:30.
Yeah, I was still checking out picks at like 11.
It's 3 hours, and then it was like 3 more hours today. And like I remember watching in past years, I'd be like last year especially, I remember watching in bed because I was interested to see where Trace Jackson Davis got picked.
Yeah.
And like that was one where I just had to keep watching.
Yep.
Because he just wasn't getting picked. And they cut the timer down for the second round when it's all in one night. I don't know what the timer was because I didn't really watch much of the second round this time. I just kind of checked in.
2 minutes
instead of the 4 or 5 or whatever it is.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and
2.5 minutes maybe.
Dude,
either way,
it's just so long, and like the pick is in. I'm like, then tell us, just tell us.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is like they tell us the pick is in, and then they wait 5 minutes to tell us. Which I mean, I understand it's a big deal for the players, right? Like we are not discrediting it from that perspective. Just for the players, like they need time. The pick is in. Well, then the team has to call the player, let the player know, so the player can get ready to either go on stage or be ready for when like the cameras pan to them.
Yeah,
I get that. I am not discrediting that at all because, but again, I've never been a player. Right? I've never been
right. It's not
drafted.
About us, but it's also the reason. Like it's
a
there
viewer.
for us to watch.
We are complaining as viewers, and it's just our opinion, right? Like as viewers, as Joe Schmoes.
It's a terrible product.
Yeah,
is what it is. You put out like it's so boring, and a lot of the analysis also sucks.
Well, I mean, earlier today, or I guess yesterday, one of the analysts for the first round talked about first guy we're going to talk about, Zach Edey, was saying that he only scored on like 8% of his pick and rolls. Which is just not true. He was in the 97th percentile, scored on 82%. So, like, was it like...
Said it wrong.
Did they say it wrong? Maybe, but either way, it's just not good analysis. And so, like, that's... Or they just say the same things over and over again.
Like
and we are not saying that we could do better.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not that fun to watch personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously very exciting watching, players that you care about, that you're invested in, to watch the NBA draft. Like, not many people are watching. I don't know how many people are watching the NBA draft. I assume that they split it into 2 nights this year. That's another issue I have. Both rounds are boring, And
well, shoot, if they didn't split it in, it would have been 7 hours long.
Yeah. But like, I imagine they did that just to get more viewers.
Goes back to our conversation last week. Money's king.
It always is. But you know, whatever. I tuned in, and I'll continue to tune in. But it's like an award show, you know, like the Emmys or the Oscars or something. I'm interested to see who wins. I don't care about literally anything else. I just want them to say, these people were nominated, this person won. Okay, move on.
Give me a the sheet that I got pulled up on my screen that just says who got drafted from where to who.
Yeah.
When.
Especially now that like you don't need to watch because Woj and Shams are just trying to one up each other on Twitter. Like I don't go to Twitter either unless I'm checking out like picks that have already happened because I just want to see it announced. Like I actually want to have them say it or like see it on the like the NBA.com website where it like updates because that's fun. But then it's like, oh, even before the pick is in, it's like, oh, they're picking this person. It's like, okay. Then now I have to wait 7 minutes until the next pick. But whatever. So we watched the NBA draft and we're going to be talking about the 2 Indiana college players that were picked. And we're going to be kind of talking about some fun stories about the NBA draft and kind of what we think a little bit about some players. We're not going to go through this pick by pick. And
we might not even talk about every player that got drafted.
No.
I'm going to be honest.
Like, you know, we'll obviously talk about like the first couple of picks, but we're going to be focused mostly on the college players because, I mean, I don't know anything about Ron Holland. I didn't watch the G League Ignite.
Right. I knew that he decommitted from Texas when Rodney Terry got the job.
Yeah.
But that's my extent of Ron Holland. He's a baller in high school.
But we'll talk about that stuff and we'll just kind of jump around. We might not even necessarily go in order. We'll just kind of talk about the things that we want to talk about things that surprised us, you know, people not getting picked till the second round, people getting picked later or earlier than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump into the big story, Jaren. What was kind of who do we want to start with? The biggest story, right? The biggest man,
the largest man. A lot of people are saying that, you know, this guy got drafted to Memphis. They're saying that he and Ja Morant are going to be the next Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady duo, just based on the way they play. I could see it. It's an uncanny comparison.
That's what I want. You know what I mean?
Like, the first couple of tweets I saw were, you know, about the classic side by side of Kobe and Shaq and the highlight reel between those two. But then I saw the Yao Ming T-Mac comparison. I was like, yep, that's it. Did bury the lead a little bit. Zach Edey, so we're talking about, you know, back-to-back National Player of the Year. Purdue standout.
Gets picked 9th by the Grizzlies. And that was, you know, anywhere from 3 to like 10 spots higher than people thought.
Yeah.
In his like interviews and stuff, Zach Edey said that he knew Memphis liked him. But there was a lot of smoke about like, will Memphis trade up to get Donovan Clingan, who went 7th? So he went 7th to the Blazers. And because the Grizzlies obviously needed a big if they're considering Zach Edey and they're considering Donovan Clingan. But they didn't trade up to like 4th or 5th. They stayed at 9th and they got Zach Edey. And apparently they are in love with Zach Edey. Rightfully so. I mean, how can you blame them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like and Zach Edey's a guy that I thought for a while was just going to be, he was going to be a Steven Adams or a...
Also played for the Grizzlies.
Yeah. Or a... not Bogdanovich. Can't think of his name. Big dude.
Anyway,
yeah, a guy who was going to play, you know, maybe not meaningful minutes, but was going to get minutes.
Yeah,
and that doesn't seem to be the case. I think him going to Memphis he's going to get a lot of run.
Mm-hmm. You know, he hasn't had injuries, which is a big thing. Obviously, you worry about that when anyone is extremely large. I mean,
yeah,
look at just the size of Yao Ming and how injuries derailed his body and his career.
Boban is who I was thinking of.
Boban? Yep. Yeah. So you look at, you're always concerned about that. But as far as we know, he's had no injuries. And I think part of the reason why he went so high, like everyone thought he was going to go in the first round. There wasn't anyone who didn't think that. But like going top 10 was a little bit surprising just based on some stuff that we had seen, based on where he was like mocked. But I think, one, he killed his workouts. Like every workout, he apparently like impressed everybody even more than they were anticipating. Yeah. And then I think he's just still getting better at such an insane rate because he just works. He's got like the Kobe work ethic mentality, man.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that definitely plays into it.
I also thought it was cool that he got invited to the green room, rightfully so. Like, how do you not invite the, back-to-back?
Yeah, which is only for like the top 25 projected picks or whatever.
He turned it down. He wanted to spend the draft with his friends and family, the teammates. I believe they had a draft party at Matt Painter's house.
I think so.
All the players were there. He was there wearing I think they were Cartier glasses, just sitting there watching all the teammates around him.
Mason Gillis flew back.
Mason Gillis was there for it. It was cool to see. And I think that speaks a lot to his character.
Yep.
Because he could have. I mean, and we all know how Zach Edey is as a player, as a teammate, and the fact that he did that was amazing. Not discrediting any players who did go to the green room.
No, but I mean, like,
it just
if you're invited to the green room, you're expected to go to the green room because like it's the place that everyone wants to be.
Yeah,
if you're going to enter your name into the draft, you want to be invited to the green room. You want to be hanging out with everybody.
Right. Celebrities, other players. And I think that everyone, like, everyone handles the situation differently. And I thought it was cool that Zach Edey decided not to.
Yeah, I loved that. Did you see that? You obviously saw the video of him getting picked from, the POV when he was there. He's hugging his mom.
Yep.
You see Fletcher go up for the high five, did not get seen high-fived himself.
I know, but that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's an all-time move.
Gave himself a high five,
All-time move.
But yeah, it was really, really awesome to see, especially because people were just beefing, basically. Like I don't think anyone thought he was going to be the first big picked because, you have people like Alex Sarr was going to be, 1 or 2. And then obviously Klingon was going to go before him just because I think he projects as the better NBA player. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he does project that way.
Yeah.
But where was I even going with this?
I don't know.
I don't even remember what I was saying. Completely lost it.
Couldn't tell you.
Well, we'll never know. But, it was just cool to see like that he got picked that high. It's weird saying that the 2-time National Player of the Year got picked 9th, but that's just today's NBA.
Yeah.
Zach Edey doesn't stretch the floor yet.
Right.
But I think that he's got a front office that is smart. I think he's got a coaching staff that's good. Mm-hmm. And Ja can stay healthy and out of trouble.
Emphasis on that, out of trouble.
Yeah. 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
What's more important?
Yeah.
Then they should be very good. And like I did a TikTok or whatever. I did a short about this, but like they're in win now mode. Mm-hmm. And so I think that they wanted someone who's older, going to be able to come in and play right away and offer some stuff. And I think he's very, very valuable to that team. So that was the first of the 2 players from Indiana who was selected. And the second one is Kel'el Ware. And didn't know if he was like, he was lottery talks, going to go somewhere in the middle of the first round, basically.
Yeah.
He was not going to be picked. He wasn't going to be picked before Zach Edey or Donovan Klingon. But he was going to be middle of the first round, and he was 1 spot out of the lottery.
Sucks from a contract perspective.
Yeah, but not much.
Yeah, but
I don't actually know what the numbers are there, but
I love where he went.
I would much rather go.
He went to Miami. I'm a big Coach Spoelstra fan. I think he's brilliant. And just what he's able to do with players, he's able to get the best out of them. A lot of coaches can, right? But like, he's so analytical that he's going to put you in the position. I mean, Chris Bosh, who was a very similar profile player, outstanding there. Yeah. I know he was already a star going there,
right? But
I think Coach Spoelstra took him to another level, and I think he can do that with Kel'el Ware. And I think the best part, I saw I believe it was Jay Billis that said this, was, you know, there were a lot of conversations going into last year about his motor. And Jay Billis said it. He was like, "Oh, his motor's fine."
Yeah,
it was like
that died. That argument died.
Yeah, and he didn't play at Oregon 2 years ago. Last year was an all Big Ten player,
double machine.
And it's just going to Miami. You've got a coach. You've got great pieces around you.
When Pat Riley wants you,
yeah,
like, you know that you're good.
Yeah. So and I don't know their roster.
I don't either, but sure.
I'm pulling it up. But the team is excited for him. They gave him his number right away. He's gonna be wearing number 7. They announced that within like an hour of him getting drafted, which I don't think you see very often. Is them like immediately saying, "Okay, what number do you?" Which is pretty awesome. I mean, they've got Bam, who is a very kind of similar player. He can, you know, he's a center forward. Thomas Bryant is still there.
Yeah,
2 IU Hoosiers playing together.
Yeah, I think they're also trying to win now, which, you know, Ware's obviously younger. I mean, was just finished up his sophomore year, but I think that he can provide you, you know, things that are valuable. I don't necessarily think he'll be starting.
Oh, I don't think he'll be starting, but he's probably
he'll be coming in, you know, playing, you know, stretch 5, you know, putting some good minutes out there and scoring and rim protection, which is huge.
Yeah, because they don't. I mean, they're centers. They've got Bam, Thomas Bryant, who Thomas Bryant plays okay. He probably plays 5 to 10 a game.
Very, very few.
But that's not every game. And then they've got Orlando Robinson, who, I don't know, he averaged 2.8 a game last year and only played 36 games.
And plus, I mean, you know, as it got later on in the draft, like as it went in the lottery, like he wasn't going to go 14th to the Blazers because they took Klingon at 7th.
Right.
The Kings took Devin Carter. Like, that's not comparable. I don't have no idea what position Nikola Topic is.
He's a point guard.
Okay. I need the sizes one.
Yeah. Topic he's a guard.
Yeah. I mean, so when you look at that, like, Buzelis to Chicago is 6'9". So this was probably the next spot that he was going to get picked after the Grizzlies. And I don't even know if the Grizzlies were even interested in Ware. But, you know, this was like the next opportunity for him to be picked. He was picked.
Yeah. And,
you know, I think it's a great spot for him, and I think should be successful there. So that's what we like to see. A surprise for me. There were a couple. The first one I want to talk about is Dalton Connect.
That's a
17th. I'm surprised he went that late.
Okay.
Because he's a guy, obviously he's an incredible shooter, got great size, and he can help you win now.
100%. I mean, and that Lakers team, one thing they needed was shooters. I mean, they had Austin Reeves, but now they've got Austin Reeves and Connect.
Yeah,
which is just gonna be so fun to watch.
I'm not surprised that the Lakers took him. I'm just surprised he was still available.
No, I get what you're saying. I was just you know, like he's looking at some of the picks before him.
You know, like Spurs could have taken him. They took Castle. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's a wrong move.
I think it comes down to style of play. I think that, you know, Castle can play on ball a little bit more than Dalton. And the Spurs,
same with like Dillingham going to Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just I think it's just based on fit. The Lakers do need a point guard, but
yeah, but they're obviously also trying to win now. The Lakers, they've got LeBron, and he's 40 years old now.
Yeah,
and so I think Dalton Connect is going to be great there. Maybe they pull up Jalen Hood-Schifino. Maybe he's ready. Maybe he plays some point guard. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's obviously Indiana adjacent.
Potentially be a really fun team, but you brought up LeBron. A lot of rumors spiraling. They're confirmed, I will say.
Okay.
But LeBron is sleeping with the mom of one of his teammates.
Stop.
What do you mean stop? I'm just telling you what has come to light today.
Is her name Savannah?
Her name is Savannah because the Lakers drafted Bronny. So, not surprised. Weird. There was Rich Paul is Bronny's agent. Not surprising.
Do you have any other clients?
A few. Got quite a large client base, but Rich was going around telling teams not to draft Bronny, or if they not to draft him.
They're saying if you draft him, he was going to go to Australia, which is an insane thing to say because I don't think anyone was legitimately thinking about drafting Bronny. I know that there was a lot of smoke saying that he did really well in his workouts or people really liked him. I think it was all smoke and that he was always going to be picked by the Lakers in their 56th. What they have 56th pick?
55. They took him 55.
He was always going to get picked there. He was always going to get picked there.
Yeah, and I mean there's also rumors I think it was last year or even this past season that LeBron, I think he's only signing 1-year contracts with the Lakers. He's at this point in his career where
they offered him a 3-year, didn't they? LA. I think I saw something.
I don't remember, but
JJ said, "Hey, you want to keep doing this podcast? I'm living here now. We can."
Yeah, but LeBron was pretty much saying he was only doing 1-year contracts because he wanted to play with his son, and he was going to go. He was saying that he was going to go to whatever team drafts Bronny. Now he doesn't have to go anywhere. Bronny doesn't even have to move. But
he can live in the FaZe house. House.
He got kicked. He's no longer.
They don't want an NBA player.
FaZe clan. Well, they kicked
Oh yeah, that's roster. Right.
Anyways, he
was always going to get picked there.
He was always going to go to the
And
Lakers.
I did see a tweet that was like, "Man, that's crazy," because LeBron always said for a long time that he wanted to play with his son. Which, sorry, Bryce.
I don't know. I mean,
he might be around. I mean,
he might.
If he takes a vet minimum, sure. But if Giannis can get his brothers into the league, LeBron can definitely get his sons into the league.
The only issue with that is the age. Does LeBron just get too old?
I don't know, man. I mean, he's still so healthy for 40.
Yeah.
He's healthy. He's healthy for 32.
We might see a Bryce James, Bronny James, LeBron James lineup.
And if he does that, what he should do, if he ends up getting Bryce drafted or signed, unsigned or whatever, he should just put them all in one game for 2 seconds and then LeBron retires or something. But yeah, he was always going to go there. I never bought into any of the Bronny smoke, and
I did for a second. They had me for a second because here's the thing: he didn't get utilized well at USC, in my opinion. He was playing out of his position. He's naturally a point guard, he is.
Okay.
In my opinion, the way he plays is to facilitate. He wasn't playing that position at USC.
They needed someone to set up. They needed someone to set up LeBron and Bryce in the backyard.
I guess.
On the hoop.
I guess, but I was buying into that early on before the combine started, and then they were doing their 5-on-5. They're
he was wasn't he good in one game and then
he was good,
god awful in another one,
and
or
then
something?
Just not good in the rest. So it's okay, maybe Bronny, maybe I'm out on Bronny.
regardless,
who knows? JJ, great coach.
Yeah.
So maybe he can get the best out of him. He's playing with his dad. His dad's not going to let him slack around. It is going to be weird that you're a professional making millions and like, you're on the road meeting fans, maybe going out with some other people that are of the opposite gender, and your dad is just always there with you. Kind of be weird, but
I don't know, man.
I mean, the Balls made it work.
Did they? Did they? How many of them are still in the league?
Well, 2.
Is Lonzo still technically in the league? He hadn't played in 3 years?
Lonzo's back. He's been doing workouts. He's back.
Is he still wearing big baller brand shoes?
I don't think anyone is.
Good. Those will hurt you, man.
But no, I think, great for him for being drafted. It was no shock that he was going to get drafted. I think just because, well,
all this has taught me is that our dads need to step it up, man.
Yeah, nepotism.
I would like to.
If you're a dad and would like to claim us and throw some success our way, you know how to contact us.
Hopefully you're listening, Dad. My dad retired before I entered the workforce. Not that I was entering, not that my degree was anything related to my dad's career, but it could have been. It could have been. It could have been if he didn't retire.
I would have switched majors.
Yeah, obviously we jest kind of, but nepotism sure is nice. So let's just kind of jump around. There's a little bit more drama. We'll get into that in a second. I want to take a little break. I really like Reed Sheppard going 3 to the Rockets.
Yeah.
So I was listening to this, and apparently Atlanta, their talks. So Atlanta is not, they basically lucked into the number 1 pick. Didn't need it. And there were apparently talks their front office, Reed Sheppard is the best shooter in this draft. He shot 52% last year in college at Kentucky, and they were basically wait, are we passing up on the next are we passing up on Patrick Mahomes, basically, the comparison that they were giving.
Interesting.
And if you think you're passing up on Patrick Mahomes, why? Why?
Yeah.
I think they went with the safe option, which was going with Zachary Risacher from France.
Yeah, big draft for France.
Yeah. And
2 of the top 10 picks.
Yeah. And so after they were probably going to go with the safe option, obviously, but Reed Sheppard, best shooter, they went with Risacher, who's probably, he's not going to be the best player from this draft. I would almost guarantee it.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
When you're 1 overall, compared to last year where it's Wemby is an alien, and then this year it's he's a 3-and-D guy. Role player 3-and-D guy going number 1 overall.
Yeah, that's just what's weird to me.
They should have gone and picked Zach Edey, man. Go out swinging.
Right.
Something.
Yeah. But hey, it's what they needed apparently.
Yeah.
So gives Trae Young some help if Trae Young stays in Atlanta.
Which could be a reason why this could be another reason why they didn't pick Reed Sheppard, is because you do have Trae Young. So, Reed Sheppard and Trae Young probably don't play together as well as Risacher and Trae Young. But it was weird seeing them not, just pick the safe option. But Reed Sheppard goes 3rd. First college player drafted. I think he'll be very good. Stephon Castle from UConn goes 4th.
Really like that pick.
I like that to the Spurs.
Like him in San Antonio.
Yeah.
He's there. He's now playing with Wemby. San Antonio. Great draft. They picked up
some smart guys.
They picked up Castle. They picked up Rob Dillingham. They got Juan Nunez
from the Pacers.
Yeah, is from Spain. Don't know anything about him, but it's that team is just going to be so much better, I think. Just
it should be
Dillingham and especially Castle, because again, you've got Castle who probably won't start right away, but could, I think, by the end of the season be a heavy minutes guard. And maybe he makes the shift to be more of a point guard than a shooting guard like he played at UConn. I think he could have been the starting point guard at UConn last year. They just also had Tristan Newton.
Yeah, right.
So I think Tristan Newton is the better point guard between the two.
But they played.
Still a
they're
great
still so
point
good.
Guard, and he's just he's a great player. He's 6'6".
Billingham's going to Minnesota that got traded.
Okay.
That's the other thing about this is like, okay, this is my biggest qualm. One of my biggest qualms with the draft is that, like, I know it's not all finalized or whatever, but like, those first round trades that they have done in deals years out most of the time.
The Pacers just got a 2029 first round pick.
So like all that stuff, it's really annoying because there's the picture of Kobe when he got drafted with the Hornets jersey.
Yeah.
He never played a second for the Hornets.
I mean, Kawhi Leonard got drafted by the Pacers and then went to San Antonio.
It's just really, it's like annoying because you have to just like, okay, who's actually going where? I've got you've got a picture now, I assume, of Rob Dillingham with a Spurs hat on.
Yeah.
But he's going to the Timberwolves. The other thing, hats. Can't we just bring back the jerseys? Hats, baseball thing. Everyone does hats now. Like
football.
Yeah, everyone.
Every sport. It's because new era. They just signed a massive contract, and I think it's easier to make a hat than like a jersey. Like, what number do you put on it? 24. The year of the draft. Like it's
something 1.
The pick number.
It's
like, it's just I think it's easier to have hats.
I mean, for sure. I just think it's weird.
But yeah, I don't love it. I mean, but everyone wears hats.
Yeah.
Everyone wears hats.
Which just makes, all I think about is like they're snapbacks. Yeah. And so I just imagine that, like, because they have it on like a mannequin head before they give it to them. So I just imagine like when you're filling out your like draft stuff, it's like, what button are you? How many like what buttons are you on this fitted cap or their snapback? Like, oh, he's Zach Edey. He's 7'4", and his wingspan is this, and his hat size is 1 button, like 1 snap.
Yeah, so that's a good point. But also, again, I guess jersey's also probably a problematic thing because it's sizing. But again, they can just put a general size.
I don't even think they just held him up.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't even matter. Obviously nitpicking just for no reason. What else? I mean, we have to talk about Klingon. Went to the Blazers. I don't know. I hope he works out. I think that he will. He's profiling as a very good NBA big, young guy still. I mean, I don't know anything about the Blazers organization or their team. I haven't played.
Well, DeAndre Ayton's the starting center, and like DeAndre Ayton, very similar. They have very similar playing styles, which is great. Ayton is just like up in there. You never know. I mean, the dude didn't show up.
Isn't he hurt? Hasn't he been hurt or something?
He's gotten hurt several times throughout his career, but he also didn't show up to a game because he was snowed in to his neighborhood. He was iced in, couldn't get out because they got an ice storm because of a blizzard, and like didn't show up to a game, or it was either game or practice.
That's awesome.
I think it was a game. But so like he's just a guy that I don't think he wants to be in
falling in coach
in Portland. Yeah. So now you've got a guy like Klingon who can come in and make and have impactful play time. They've got Brogdon, Scoot Henderson, Shadon Sharp.
I forgot about him, dude.
They've got Matisse Thybulle. Like they've got not a bad team. Chris Murray's there.
Sharp's the dude who didn't play a second for Kentucky, right? He like enrolled at the new year and then stayed out and then like went like top 5 or something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So like
all-time grift. I mean, maybe, I don't know what he plays. I have no idea what his stats are, but if he didn't play a minute of college and he got, a lottery deal, that's an insane.
Sign me up. Second best deal outside of being a
fired coach. Yeah, because that takes less work, and you're younger, man. You're younger. Shoot, if you're smart, you can live off that.
Yeah. So, I think the Trailblazers gotta steal at 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because especially there were talks about Memphis moving up.
Yeah.
This is just random. Again, I mentioned Ron Holland earlier, but Detroit, I don't know. Detroit's still gonna maybe suck.
Terrence Shannon. Yeah, Detroit is just a dumpster fire. Yeah. They have so many great individual players, but they just can't play together as a team.
Let's talk about Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, so he went 27th to the Timberwolves. I think I'm not sure that Terrence Shannon was a lottery pick.
I don't think he was. I think he was always a mid to late first rounder.
I think that this is where he fell.
Yeah, because
I don't want to say fall. Where he got drafted, I think is
people say
exactly kind of.
I'm glad you didn't say fall because people always say like he needs to go in this spot, but like once you get out of, especially this draft kind of sucked.
Oh yeah,
and especially when you're 3-and-D guy is like the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. The draft kind of sucked, and there's like it comes down to fit for a lot of these. Like we were talking about Ware, went 15th, but like he wasn't going to go to Portland. He wasn't going to go to Sacramento. He wasn't going to go to Oklahoma City. So like it all comes down to fit, and so that's the most important thing for sure. Like I don't know what the contract difference is between 27th and 20th, but it ain't much.
Yeah, I'm going to come out and say it. I think that outside of like Dalton Connect and maybe Reed Shepherd, I think Terrence Shannon's going to have the most successful career from the first round guys that got drafted. I mean, he's going to a team that's already well established. They lost in the West Finals. They are a playoff team. They are a team that can win the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They've got Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, you were talking about that. They're going to be nasty together,
Karl
dude.
Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. You've got Anthony Edwards next to Terrence Shannon Jr. Oh my God.
You're about to get absolutely dunked on.
Like
dunked on.
You just have two incredibly athletic guards. They are absolute heaters.
Yeah.
Like they can take over a game. I mean, we don't know if Terrence Shannon is going to be that impactful in the NBA right away, but I mean,
I think he's going to be very good.
Yeah, I think that he is going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to make a huge impact. He's going to be a guy that, like, if Anthony Edwards needs to come out for some rest in the playoffs, you can go to Terrence Shannon and you get not the exact same product, but you get a very similar play style. So it's not going to change your team dynamic.
Yeah, I think that he's just going to be. I think he's just going to be very good, and I don't even think that this whole, the whole court case that he was proved innocent on. I guess not proved innocent. I mean, that he was had a innocent verdict on.
Yeah,
would be the way to say that, I guess. I don't think that impacted him. I don't think that impacted his draft stock, like some of these other people. But the late half of the first round, the steal. And this is another one where like you look like at geniuses that are running them. You're looking at like Pat Riley, for the Heat. Obviously, the biggest genius in this whole thing is Brad Stevens. Baylor Shireman going 30th to the Celtics is amazing.
I love it. I was getting ready to bring that up next.
They're scary, dude.
Like
they are scary.
The Celtics are already so good, and you've got Baylor Shireman who. I mean, looking at their guards, we've got Derek White, Jordan Walsh, Jaden Springer, Peyton Pritchard, Drew Holiday. Baylor Shireman's better than half of those guys.
He'll come in and play as many minutes as you want him to, and he will be effective in all of those minutes.
Yeah,
offensively for sure. Just like it's a great pick. I mean, Brad Stevens obviously knows what he's doing.
100%.
Like when we talked to Matt Graves, he was like, I think he's better at being a GM than a coach, which is insane to say because he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, right.
So I think he is a steal. I don't know where he was slotted to go, where he was mocked to go, but that is just incredible. And then before we get out of the first round, Deron Holmes out of Dayton, going to the Suns. I'm just happy to see that he went in the first round.
Yeah, I think that's big for the small schools. I mean, Dylan Jones got drafted out of Weber State. 2, mid majors. I mean, Weber State's not even a mid major; they're a low major.
Yeah.
So like,
very tight
and incredibly cool to see that guys that you maybe didn't hear about as much. I mean, Duron Holmes you still heard about just because Dayton was a good team,
good at one point, great at one point.
Yeah. So really cool to see from that perspective. Looking at round 2, Tyler Kolek.
Oh my God,
going
dude.
34th. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, okay, so like the first thing that I always look at with the draft is like, he went, what pick? Tyler Kolek.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's older, but like, I know he can't read, but like I love Tyler Kolek as like I love his game. I love his game.
Oh yeah.
But he got traded to New York.
Which I just don't. New York is just, their team is just so stacked. They're a team full of role players.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where. I mean, looking at their guards, they've got DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart.
Yep.
They just went and got.
They said, you know what? Let's get incredible college guys.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, they have 4 of Villanova's.
I was going to say,
5.
let's get all of Villanova's team.
Didn't they just traded for
Bridges?
Yeah, Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges.
So like,
hold that one out.
Yeah, that was impressive. So like, it's going to be interesting to see. But again, Tyler Kolek's a guy that I love. They've got so many point guards already. I don't know what his role is going to be. He might be a guy that just kind of sits on a 2-way contract, but still incredibly talented player. Like, he's great defender.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great once he gets back from the Billy Madison trip back through school to learn how to read. But so let's talk about Indiana. The Pacers.
Ooh, speaking of Indiana, real quick on Tyler Kolek, I looked up his projection. They're saying he's going to be similar to McConnell, who McConnell ran the Indiana second team second unit. So like,
and is going to get an insane extension because he's so important on the floor and in the locker room, and
they're saying that Kolek is going to projects to be very similar to that.
Someone would compare me to McConnell.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah. But yeah, so Indiana, you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, the Pacers. I don't really understand the logistics of it. I didn't really pay attention. They had the 36th pick, right?
Yeah, they had the 36th
and
pick.
They swapped 36, 35th. I don't know if it was just a 1-for-1. That's what I don't know. It's like,
I don't know how long. So it was with the Spurs. Spurs had 35, Pacers had 36.
There's some weird. They're wheeling and dealing.
I have the biggest respect for the spreadsheet guy in every team's front office that has to keep track of future picks. Like I said, I think the Pacers got a 2029 first round pick. How do you remember in 5 years? How do you remember? Oh, by the way, this pick is actually ours.
A trivia thing that I want to know: has there ever been a pick that has not, like a trade that has not happened? Like, I trade you for this pick, and then you just forget about it, and I just get the guy anyway. Like, has that ever happened? Probably not.
Probably
but if
not,
so,
but like,
that needs a 30 for 30. If it has happened.
That's a good point.
And that's how we ended up with Kobe Bryant. It'd be something like that, of course. Or no, it'd be like, I don't even know, like who was like a late second rounder.
I mean, the thing is, you can't talk about it. Like, if you get him, it's like, wait, if we bring this up, then like,
homie finds a pink slip in his office, and he was like, guys, who went 54th last year? That was Giannis. No.
But at the same time, like, what if you're just in a spot? What if the Spurs are in a spot that, like, wait, we can get Johnny Furphy, but it's the Pacers picks. Like, no, we will actually do want this guy. But then the Pacers call and say, hey, can you pick this guy for us? So I imagine that's how like some of these picks work, is like the Pacers or the front office calls and says, heck, hey, this pick, has already been committed to us,
But what else was in the trade? Like they didn't just trade 36 to 35, right?
I think it was a 2029.
The 2020
first round pick.
So they both like, wanted. I don't know. Interesting.
But it's like, how does that? What?
I don't know. Johnny Furphy though, going to the Pacers, I really like.
They needed a wing.
They
did not get OG, who we thought that could potentially go there. He just signed a supermax extension with
Johnny Furphy's 6'8", and he can shoot. He played at Kansas because they had injuries with McCullough. And they had, they were a very short bench. And so he got to play a lot. And I think he worked his way not into a first round pick, but an early second round pick. And I think that the Pacers are going to really like him. And I think that if they can re-sign all these people that they need to re-sign and maybe pick up one more piece, they're going to be really good. So I really like that pick, especially because he's like a good insurance policy if you don't get a wing.
Yeah, 100%. They've got the only other wing that they've got really that hasn't played much is Jarris Walker, who I think is also a great wing, just a different kind of. I think that Furphy's better from a shooter perspective. The Pacers also got scrolling to find Tristan Newton.
Oh yes,
which I go back and forth. I just don't understand because Tristan Newton is a point guard.
Yeah,
they list him as a guard in the draft because they never know.
They're all guards. They're all just guards, forwards, or centers.
Where they're gonna play.
The centers are just like Edey and Lingen.
Right. But it's with Tristan Newton, they're just already so deep. We talked about they've got their lead point guard, Tyrese Halliburton, an all-star, right? They've
just pencil in his like put a blank, like a black sheet up to retire his jersey in Gainbridge, like please.
Right.
Never lose him.
Then you've got TJ McConnell, who they are signing an extension for to run the second unit. But then they've got a guard like Tristan Newton.
Well, maybe it's a thing where, TJ McConnell old. He NBA old.
That's true.
So, like, maybe it's like if you want to learn from somebody, learn from TJ McConnell and Hallie. Yeah. So, maybe it's like this is what our future is going to look like.
That's valid.
That's a possibility.
It's just
stash him in the G League. And
I hate to see a guy like Tristan Newton playing in the G League.
Yeah.
I also hated to see Jarris Walker playing in the G League or Oscar Tshiebwe playing in the G League last year. So it's just like, okay, the Mad Ants might be the best G League team in the country now if we've got Tshiebwe, Walker, and Tristan Newton.
Oscar Tshiebwe just out there getting boards in the G League night in and night out.
It's insane. And then it'll be interesting to see.
I know. You remember when he got drafted, not drafted, picked, signed? He got signed. He went undrafted, right?
Yeah.
Remember when he went to the Mad Ants and then it was like he needed glasses.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
He was
out there blind.
Player of the Year candidate because he didn't win Player of the Year, did he?
Yes, he did. And then Zach Edey won it the next 2 years. He was
National Player of the Year.
He was between
Luka and
Edey.
So a National Player of the Year,
and he couldn't see.
Absolute rebound god, and he couldn't see. And then he goes and he wears goggles now, which is just absolutely electric.
No wonder why his free throw percentage was whatever it was. I have not checked on.
Yeah,
jokes on us. He's farsighted, so he was just blindly grabbing rebounds.
But then he got glasses and just dominated the G League. Yeah. He had I think it was a game he had 30 boards or some shit like that.
Dude, he I don't remember what it was, but he his first question when he got to the Mad Ants was what's the rebound record in the G League? Oh, that's it? Then he broke it immediately.
Yeah, he's just insane on the glass.
Who else do you want to talk about? Oso Ighodaro. So you texted me and you were like, Tyler Kolek and Oso Ighodaro both got picked by Portland.
I hate trades.
And I was like, well, yes, but actually, no.
Yeah, so the Trailblazers drafted Oso. It was weird. The list I saw, it listed out his full name, which is Osero.
And you're like, who
I was like, what? Then I saw his last name. I was like, oh, okay. So Oso got drafted to the Blazers, who then they traded him to the Suns via the Knicks.
I don't know.
I don't know. But going to the Suns, Still a good spot for him, I think. But man, I would have loved to see
those two together,
Kolek and Oso in the Trailblazers.
All I know is that
Portland.
If they had actually ended up in the same spot, you know how they do like the media always takes pictures of people walking into the games? If they had just always been together and had Oso reading to Kolek, like just keep the joke going. I know Kolek came out with his graduation picture and just said, "I can read,"
which is just an all-time move. You love to see that. But yeah, so it's in the Suns really there. Oso's a forward, right? Or is he a center?
He's like a stretch kind of guy. He's like a small center. He'll probably like a little bit of both.
Oso play next to KD. Just insane.
Side note, talking about KD, you remember when they got rid of the benching for the combine because KD just
couldn't bench
135 or he declined, and they're like, we're just gonna get rid of this.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Wemby throwing up 135?
I don't know how he'd reach under a bench. Like
he's like, well, yeah.
It would just be comical to see how far
you have to start your rep. You have to start your rep so far down.
Yeah.
Like you have to actually bench it off of the rack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They gotta have special racks, right? For the NBA Combine. You're telling me they don't have like deeper benches?
I don't know, man.
Let's when we meet Cliff, let's ask him.
Okay.
Like they have. There's no way they're out there at some YMCA bench. You know, they're talking about like the extra long benches.
Interesting enough, though, the Suns only have 6 players under contract currently.
Is that real?
According to the NBA website, they've got Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, David Roddy, and Yusuf Nurkic. And I don't know if like some of these guys got re-signed. Like Eric Gordon is technically listed as a free agent. Isaiah Thomas, free agent. Thaddeus Young, free agent. Bol free. They've got like 15 guys.
It sounds stupid, agent. But where's CP3?
Golden State.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, because he was going to be doing pick and rolls with TJD.
Yeah. Oh man,
Dunk City.
Steal of the draft last year was him at 57th, 50 or second in line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cam Spencer going to Detroit. I don't know. Go be best friends with Jaden Ivey. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Just hang out.
Another guy that New York they drafted like 6 dudes. I don't understand their team comp because they picked up McCullough from the Suns at 56. They got Ariel Hockporty from Germany at 58. Who else did we talk about in the first? Oh, Tyler Kolek is there. Like, it's just their team is going to be interesting. They're just like, we're going to take everyone. They got another dude from France in the first round. Like, we're just going to take everyone, and we're going to see what kind of product we can put on the court. They're going to have 15 role players going off the bench.
It reminds me of, when you just say, every day we go closer and closer to F it, we ball. That's just what it is.
Honestly.
We're just gonna see. You show up at that first practice, and you're like, all right, what do we do?
Another thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I was kind of bummed about it. I saw Cam Spencer got drafted 53rd by the Pistons. Well, he was traded to Memphis.
Oh, was he?
So Cam Spencer and Zach Edey on the same team is going to be so interesting because they were huge rivals. When Cam was at Rutgers, Cam.
Which that's how Cam Spencer is.
I just want to know what that dynamic is going to be like. It's like
all I know.
Each other.
No. Here's the thing. The way it was portrayed, like the fans of Cam Spencer hated Zach Edey and vice versa, because Cam Spencer was out there continuing the Ron Harper Jr. legacy of beating Purdue when they're number one. It's going to be the exact same thing as last year at the draft stuff when we saw the picture of Trace and Edey just chopping it up, dancing together. It's like, no, they probably hated each other on the court at that game, but as soon as the game was over, they don't care.
Yeah, that's fair. So
they're probably going to be chopping it up, and especially I imagine Cam Spencer will be talking his stuff to him. But
well, Cam Spencer owns Edey at this point.
Yeah,
in terms of like on the court, like Edey.
I mean, he stopped him from doing the one thing he wanted to do.
He beat him when they were number one.
Yeah.
2 years ago at Rutgers, beat him in the national championship. So like, do you think Cam rolls up to the first training camp with his ring on and just like flashes it around to Edey? Do you think that stuff like that happens?
No, only because the rings won't have been delivered by then.
Good point.
But one more thing on Zach Edey is, you see the NIL or shirt that they put out of him this last week? It's Edey, like a spotlight on him, like walking on the court, spotlight on him, and his shadow, GOAT. I mean, he's, I think at this point, definitively, the best player to play it. Most important, had the best career, I guess, of anyone. Best player to play at Purdue. He's Purdue's GOAT.
Fun fact, though, there are of Zach Edey's freshman class, there were 3 of them. Jaden Ivey, lottery pick. Zach Edey, lottery pick.
5 and 9th, respectively.
Ethan Morton.
He's got to continue
in college.
Where's he going? Western Kentucky? No. Going. It's somewhere in Kentucky, right? He's going
Colorado State.
Colorado State. Okay. Way off. Not even close.
Yeah, no. Colorado State.
Which Colorado State is in the West?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, Ethan Morton. Dude, if Ethan Morton is a lottery pick next year, everyone who's ever said anything, Purdue fan or not, because Purdue fans were like, if Ethan Morton doesn't play more, we're better, right? Like that's the general understanding. That's like,
yeah,
lottery pick. Then we have to question Matt Painter. He had another lottery pick,
and that's gonna pull up a lot of recruits for Colorado State. They're like, wait, you took Ethan Morton?
Homie was out here
to a lottery.
Yeah,
pick?
Homie was out here getting trillions. Then all of a sudden he's a lotto.
That's let's talk about one last thing.
Yeah, we have not talked about the big story from the second round.
Yeah, a guy that fell.
I thought he was going to go in the teens.
I thought he was a lottery pick.
Yeah, late lottery or like just outside of the lottery.
Yeah,
at worst.
Right. Kyle Filipowski
from Duke.
Pick after pick goes by. Finally, Utah Jazz drafted him.
Which I almost texted you last night. I mean, we're recording this on Thursday, so I almost texted you after the first round. I was like, Flip didn't get picked. Like, this is crazy to me. Like,
yeah.
He might as if. You should have like a clause where if you declare for the draft and you don't get picked in the first round, like you can come back to college, because he should have done that.
Right. So that's interesting. Important to note that he went to Utah. Some stories came out about him. He apparently has no relationship with his family.
It's crazy.
He kind of shut them all out, according to his mom and brother. His girlfriend, who they've been dating now 6 years, maybe 8 years, something like that. They've been dating since he was in high school.
Well, he's what, a sophomore? He's 20?
Okay, so maybe 6 years. No.
I hope not.
Maybe
I hope not.
We'll say
a couple of years.
His girlfriend, who I believe is 28 years old.
Yeah, she's our age.
And went to his senior prom with him.
Okay. Which, if he's 20, she would have been 26. At worst. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. She hadn't had her birthday yet. She was 25.
I think May. The reports were that she was 26.
I'll be nice. Say she was 25.
So
there's no rule.
Or maybe it was 24. Maybe she was 24.
I don't care how old. I don't care. 24. they don't. Our school had a rule: you can't bring anyone over 21. I assume because of alcohol. But
right.
you had to fill out paperwork if they didn't go to your school. Like you were not like it was just a no, instant no if they were over 21.
She graduated college from Alabama in 2018. She is Mormon. Was apparently the family babysitter when he was a kid. So like she's old enough to be a babysitter for his family and him and his siblings. And there's a lot of grooming allegations that have come out. It's like, okay, like this is weird. And mind you, the age ranges are vastly different.
I mean, 8 years.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, so really weird. Apparently she was a big part in him not having a relationship with his family. She like sent an email to his parents.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we're cutting you off kind of thing. Flip was really awkward in interviews during the draft process about his relationship. Likely a reason why he dropped, just because if there's some sketchy things going on. But I don't know.
It's very strange.
Yeah, the whole situation is just weird.
Bag chaser?
Her or him?
Her! Dude, come on, man. And like, I don't know, man. Like, the people at Duke, come on, man. What were you doing?
And the fact that we're just now hearing about this?
Yes. And like, because his brother and his mom, his brother was like tweeting about it, like trying to reach out to Jonathan Gavoni. Trying to be like, I'm trying to like DM him on Instagram. Like, I'm trying to let people know. Yeah, those are the tweets I was looking at. Yeah. He's literally like tweeting people, and someone's like, "I'm not the guy, but like, this needs to get out there." Seriously, like, this is ridiculous. He would have gone higher in the draft last year, and he didn't play his way into a worse draft position this year. He didn't, which is the insane thing about this.
Like there was a tweet from his mom saying she's 28 with an end game 3 years ago to have a diamond ring on her hand when Kyle left Duke. 3 years
Are they engaged?
Ago, no, I don't think so. 3 years ago, he was in high school.
Right.
And it was just like, so 3 years ago, she was 25.
Wait, 3 years ago would have been 2021. She was 3 years out of college.
Yep, because she graduated in 2018. Now he ends up in Utah, which is like
the ultimate irony. The ultimate irony there.
Yeah, so read into that. Just type Kyle Filipowski's name in Twitter. And you'll see all kinds of tweets
insane.
About it. So
I really
people are saying that she brainwashed him.
Like apparently like Mormon grooming is like a thing.
Yeah.
And that's like what they're saying this was. And there was like a picture on his like old Instagram. Obviously, as soon as anything comes out, people go digging.
Oh, 100%.
People go digging on social media. And like the picture was like of them. Like it was like a picture on his Instagram, like saying with my cousins or whatever. But she was in the picture.
I don't think she was in the babies. I don't think she was in the picture. I think she just commented on it because she knew the family.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was like, you're telling me they're also cousins?
I dug into the tweet.
Good. Okay. I don't want to be. We might be spreading misinformation, but this is all we know.
Yeah. So
that, this is the downside of recording on Thursday. By the time you listen to this on Monday, maybe they're broken up. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, dude.
It's actually funny. I just saw a tweet. I think they are engaged, according to this tweet.
Oh my god!
Like one side of Duke Twitter, Kyle Filipowski's fiance groomed him, tried to force him into being Mormon, and got him cut off from his family. The other side of Duke Twitter is Jared McCain just putting out TikToks.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
And his draft outfit. It's pretty good.
You know what?
Talk about a brotherhood. The Duke brotherhood runs deep. If they kept this buried,
you know what? Actually, that's fake that they kept this buried, because they should be looking out for one of their own. But 2, you know what this actually does? Maybe this is all PR. Because Kyle Filipowski is just another hateable white guy from Duke. But now we all feel sorry for him. Right after and it doesn't, and nothing comes out until after he's drafted late. Think about it. Is this a double conspiracy? There are layers to this, man. There are layers that we're not ready to unpack. Someone should have asked this question on the debate tonight.
The entire spring semester, due to alleged Duke coaching staff direction. Oh no, it was her in the picture.
That was her.
Yeah. So are they cousins? Because it does say hanging out with my cousins.
Here's the thing of it. That doesn't make it. It's already so bad it can't get much worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what if they're first cousins, second cousins, or if they're not cousins. But it is insanity.
23 years old when she went to senior prom.
World. And I was positive on Filipowski as a draft prospect and like was excited to see him come back.
Mm-hmm.
Free my mans. like free my mans, dude. He's going to there's no way this played any there's no way this had any impact in him being picked by Utah specifically, right? There's no way.
Is it just a massive coincidence?
It has to be. It has to be. Or they're like, pull up. Like they called Kyle to say that they're going to pick him. She picks up the phone. Was he was invited to the green room.
I don't know.
I think. The room for the second night of the draft, kind of whack. Not very cool. But,
oh, is there a second round
green room? I don't know, but like David Stern was there, going up to the podium, and they like went in on somebody. It was when I was watching the Pacers pick. They zoomed in on somebody. And dude, I don't even know, man.
But yeah, we want to talk about this because all of the drama came out.
It's insane.
This is why we didn't talk about Kyle Filipowski earlier.
Yeah, this is why we skipped out. This is why you're like, why did they not talk about Kyle? He was totally snubbed, and it's like, well, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I need Krzyzewski to have a take on this because he played a part in the recruitment. Well, he was actually all our communication was through her. That's all it was. I don't know. You want to talk about some other drama? You want to talk about it?
What's the drama?
The Indiana drama. This is an Indiana podcast.
I don't want to get into that,
dude. I listened to it. I had time.
If you're an Indiana Hoosier fan,
this was the other thing going on this week. It was draft and then the
you stand on one of two sides of now a very polarizing conversation. Just look up I'm not even gonna I don't want to give them free PR.
Well, they've already gotten so much, dude. We have a little audience. Here's my thing: is it was. Okay, so
he was in the first round draft board or green room. By
green
the way.
room, yes, I thought he was
with his girlfriend.
Which is because it's like his fiance.
Sorry,
thank you,
fiance.
Respect her, or not? Maybe not. I don't know.
Hey man,
listen. If Dr. Disrespect goes down, she goes down too.
Touche.
Pull.
That's a very interesting thing. Is like if it was the other way around. It would just be like if it was a guy grooming a girl, like it would just get. I don't know. I hate that there's like
you're saying that there would be more negative attention on this if he was 26 or 28 and she was 20.
Yeah.
So like if this was just say like Caitlin Clark, because I know she's obviously older But
right.
say Caitlin Clark was dating 30-year-old person for 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah. So it's just.
I think you're right.
I hate that like there is that double standard.
But also, I mean, like, it's just it's wild that this is just happening. Like, we're just finding out about this now because, like, was this going on the whole time and no one said anything? Why did no one say anything? Or is this just all smoke? It's one of the two.
Yeah,
there's pretty much like.
But I mean, his brother and mom are tweeting about it, and they're trying to get Giovanni's to break it. Or
they
whatever.
Want people to pick up on this.
Yeah,
which is really sad.
Yeah, but either way, we're talking about
the Indiana Hoosier drama. We gotta specify because we're not
Hoosier
just Indiana
drama.
When the IU fans and the Purdue fans are unified, you know it's bad. It was just like I listened to it and it was one of the least professional things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like flat out one of the least professional things I've ever heard, especially someone who's like I'm not saying if you're given access to a program that you can't be negative. But
so let's rewind. So the Hoosier Hysterics.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about it. I just want to talk about
it.
It's a podcast of two guys.
They have done.
They used to interview before NIL. They used to interview former IU players, and then when NIL came about, they had a collective. And
they still do have a collective.
And then they started basically like they did their own version of Hoosier Hysteria. They did like a golf outing, and they did a camp or basically a tournament for like adults.
Yeah, so
it playing in Assembly Hall.
They were like one of the first Indiana Hoosier NIL collectives.
They were like one of the first collectives. Like when they were first basketball. Allowed, they were like the first one of them.
And they did a lot for the program. Through that, they got a lot of access to the program. Over the last few years, they have I'll say how it is. They've taken advantage of that.
They made it about them.
In my opinion.
They made it about
themselves.
Which I want to say, we're not saying if you're given access to a program that you can't be negative or critical, because
they were also they led a charge to rally Indiana Hoosier fans against Mike Woodson.
Yeah, against the head coach. Yeah, you can be critical, but you can't call for someone's job, and you can't basically just badmouth someone relentlessly and expect nothing to happen when you and then still expect access to the program without being able to defend what you're saying as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's what I talked to someone in the media who was basically saying, like, I'm given access to this program that I work with.
Yep.
I can, like, I don't publish anything specifically critical because I'm given so much access. I will say, like, hey, how can we win more games? But I'm not going to say, should we fire this person right now? Yeah.
And so the one of the guys from Hysterics, there's two of them, we'll say summoned. Scott Dolson and Mike Woodson summoned them to Bloomington, and they both live in like LA.
Yep.
So this is about a month ago. This happened.
But they're just saying something now.
Yeah, they're just coming out about it now.
It's odd.
Indiana, Mike Woodson pretty much said, we are canceling your events. So they're canceling the Hoosier Fan Fest, they're canceling the golf outing, and then the adult camp. And went on, and it comes down to like these guys bad-mouthing Mike Woodson's family, turning the fan base against it. I mean, senior day, several people came out. And like Anthony Leo talked about true fans. Mike Woodson mentioned true fans. And they were kind of subtle knocks to not these two specifically, but
the type of person.
The efforts that they went through trying to turn fans against the program. And it was like, these guys are like, they're just cringe. They're super cringy. Weird.
IU fans were already they were very divisive with IU fans.
You're either with them or against them kind of thing as IU fans. And they like impacted negatively several recruitments. Like, yes, they did have a positive impact on several key players coming to Indiana. Yeah. Jalen Hood-Schifino being one of them, Tamar Bates, Malik Renew.
As far as I have heard, and I'm sure the NIL collective helped, but I don't know. Like, I'm not going to specifically give them credit or discredit them in what they did in any recruitment.
They had impact on from an NIL perspective to assist that. And I think that it just kind of went to their heads that they thought they were gods because of it,
and they were very unprofessional. And like, I would listen to their podcast because it's very nice to hear Trey Galloway, Anthony. It's very nice to hear the players talk. I will listen to any podcast that has any player.
That was the first introduction to Anthony Walker.
Yeah.
I think on their podcast.
So it's like nice to listen to, but then like, some IU fans don't like Purdue. Some are indifferent, but like they would always ask like one of their questions, they would ask like 5 questions at the end of the podcast. And it's like, one of them was like, you're in an alley and there's 5 Purdue assholes that are trying to jump you. Who do you want defending you? Like, who do you want to fight them with you?
Yeah.
And it's like, every time they would ask it, it would get like worse.
And I think
the way that they would describe Purdue fans, which like
there is
crazy.
It is a huge rivalry like that where we won't shade or hide behind that, but like they just took it to another level, and they're part of the fan base that like Purdue fans hate. And
like they're the people that'll watch like Purdue losing to they'll watch Purdue losing to FDU as like that's their Thanksgiving game that they watch. You know what I mean? Like I have never once like wanted to watch a game that my rival has played afterwards. Okay, that happened.
Right. Yeah, so they're just they had negative impact on a few key recruitments for the Hoosiers just because like they just do weird stuff. And like if I'm a player, that turns me off to the program. It's like, this is what your fans are like. They made a big stink. They tried to get on the team bus to go to
the women's game
for the women's game against Iowa. And then made a big deal. They tried to like say that they were entitled to it because of the efforts that they did from NIL perspective.
It's crazy.
And yeah, it's just
you don't work for the athletic department.
They took advantage of the program, and I think that it was much needed. I mean, you're on two sides of the coin. You're either mad that Mike Woodson and Scott Dolson cut them off, or you're happy. I'm on the happy side.
And okay, so like you're mad because like yes, people would go to the fan fest and people would go get autographs by players, which is inherently a good thing.
It is, yeah. It is a positive
thing.
But
there also is free Hoosier hysteria that exists.
Correct.
That does exist. So
they're trying to get money for things that already exist. Yeah, it's for NIL, which is obviously an inherently good thing in these days. But
Indiana has a crazy NIL. They don't need.
Yeah, and it's not at this point. It's just like, okay, let's cut you off because at this point it's becoming it's doing more harm than good. And I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for the decision of the program.
And one thing that I saw but cannot confirm in any way is that probably shouldn't say it, but like people were saying that they like donated or gave money to the NIL collective that the Hysterics had done, and then tried to claim it on their taxes, and it was not tax deductible because they weren't giving 100% of their money to their their collective, which means that they're skimming off the top.
Yeah. So it's just there's some shady stuff. They seem to be pretty shady guys. They have very divisive opinions, and if you're a fan of them, okay, that's fine. Like,
yeah, I mean we're here for fans of all these schools.
Yeah, but
I think ultimately the thing that you need to be doing, whatever what side you end up on, is root for your school and whatever is going to make it the best.
Yep.
And that to me is rallying behind the head coach that you have and trying to have a successful season every single year. I mean, look at Kevin Keats. If he doesn't make the Final Four, he's fired. If he doesn't make that run at the end of the year, he's fired at NC State. So this could happen at any time. Rally behind your people at your school, and when they're gone, say, you can be vocal. You can say that you don't like the person, but don't try and turn people off from the coach. Don't try and turn people off from the program. And you can't say, I'm still going to root for Indiana, but I hate the coach.
Yeah. And also, like, it was a private conversation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They just went on to badmouth Mike Woodson the entire time.
So everything we've heard is from one side. And Mike Woodson will guarantee never address this. Because why would he? And he's not the type of person to do that.
Right. So that's just drama that we've.
Yeah, that's in the Indiana college world. But that was our draft talk and some drama talk. It got wild at the end there. We will be back next week with the head coach, a national champion.
And two-time Division III player coach of the year.
Yep. We're going to be back next week. We will see you next week with Trine's coach, Brooks Miller. We had a great talk with him. We're excited to show that with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. And hopefully the next time after that you see us, Jaren will be.
Yes. So this and our interview with Brooks Miller, we talked about it last week, were pre-recorded. Hopefully after these two, there won't be any more pre-recorded for the near future. We can go live again. But I'm getting back surgery. Literally in the day this episode comes out.
Yeah. So
when you listen to this episode, think
Jaren's
about
under
my
the
recovery.
knife. Yeah.
No, I should be done by the time this episode actually drops.
That's true. And if we miss a week, that's why.
If we miss a week, it is because
Jaren can't put the pod on the back though.
Yeah.
So something might look different on the, what would that be, the 15th or something? Yeah. The 15th. Yeah. We'll try and get something out for you if Jaren's under the weather. But we'll play it by ear, and I hope you enjoy next week with Brooks Miller.
Yeah, and with that, the clock is showing 000, so it's time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking into the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next week. And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.